And just like that, we're done, folks. Wow, it feels good. It feels great. As a matter of fact, I feel so free. I am no stranger to getting in front of the camera, to recording myself, public speaking. As a tour guide, former congressional candidate, a community organizer, right? I am much more used to presenting a polished, clean-cut, formal side of myself. And this series, that's not the side that you got. As a matter of fact, you got the ugly, you got the worst. While during this series, I cried, I laughed. Y'all, I was raging pissed off, like cussing angry. Y'all saw how often the scenery changed because I lead such an active life that I recorded when and where I could. The truth is that I realized shortly after beginning this series that it was not going to be as easy as other things that I've recorded. And once I got started, it almost consumed me. Finishing this series, getting it done and out of the way, telling my story. Like I said, y'all got the ugly, the sad, the mad. Y'all did not get the polished, pretty, professional Eric. What you did get was real. You got 100% real Eric. You got a side of me that I don't normally give, and I'm gonna tell you something, it feels great. It really does feel good to get this out, and I also know that more than a couple people will identify with the sentiments that I've shared in this story. So more than once, I wanted to go back and edit. I wanted to go back and re-record, and I never did. With the exception of cutting videos off because I accidentally said somebody's name, I have not edited any of these videos, and I'm proud of that. And it's time for me to move on to the next thing. So if you made it here up until the epilogue, it is worth saying again, I actually am a huge believer that it is far better to have loved and lost than to have never, ever loved at all. Did what Peter and I have, can you call it love? I don't want to answer that right now. I am not in the right place to answer that right now, is what I'll say. What I do know is that I have a reactionary answer based on how things ended. I'll be honest, there's a part of me that's still a little bit bitter and angry. Like, why did I share my deepest secrets with this person? Why did I introduce this person to my mother? How was I so off base? How was I so crazy? I mean, I hate to use, song lyrics, but how was I so crazy and foolish in love that I didn't notice, or I ignored so many red flags? I've already resigned myself to the fact that this does not put me in the best light. But I do want to say a couple last things before I finally log off and before I finally close this chapter in my life. So, one of the things that was going on in the back of my mind that I don't think I've ever shared, I have not shared in any part of this series, was this whole fear of growing old. Number one. And number two, the fear that gay marriage will no longer be legal during my lifetime. So in my lifetime, I've seen gay marriage become legal, and I'm scared that in my same lifetime, here in the United States, I might see gay marriage, people, LGBTQ people lose the right to marry in the United States. And I've also realized that neither of those were a reason to stay in a relationship, to stay in a partnership with someone who did not value me, somebody who did not appreciate me, who obviously did not love me in the same way that I loved them. So while I'm not ready to answer the question of whether what Peter and I had was love, what I can say, and I'm pretty sure I have not said this before, is that in the final letter that I wrote him, so I guess even though I told him he was dead to me, I did send him one final letter, mostly for myself, and I told him as much for my own closure, is that I said something to the effect of that I'm not going to be sorry, and I'm not going to regret loving you unconditionally, nor will I allow this experience to make me turn bitter. So I just want to end with that message. I hope that you can all take the same message from my story, from what I just shared. And you know what? Hey, if somebody doesn't make the same jackass stupid mistakes that I made, maybe some of this was worth it. So when you're out there mining and digging, just like the 49ers did once upon a time in early San Francisco, make sure that the treasures, that they are worth it, that what you are putting the work into is worthwhile, because otherwise you're just going to be stuck with a handful of worthless fool's gold. Take care, guys.